Cowboys and ranchers played a significant role in westward expansion. They are often stereotyped as loners who spent their time riding around on their horses or as outlaws who robbed banks and killed people. But during this time period, cowboys and ranchers were simply hard workers who labored day and night to make a living in the West. Before westward expansion, life was pretty simple and solitary for cowboys. They drove cattle for long distances to reach railroad heads. As westward settlement became possible, African Americans also went west, where they faced less discrimination and could work as cowboys. Laws were put into place that helped the movement of cowboys and ranchers in the West. The Homestead Act of 1862 brought in a large number of ranchers who were able to acquire their own land and work on it. Cowboys also received leases from the government to keep better control of their pasture land. However, there were laws and restrictions that did not favor cowboys and ranchers. Gun control laws in some towns were often stricter than they are today. You had to check in your gun as you would a coat at a fancy restaurant. Overall, cowboys are not heavily restricted by any legislation, for westward settlement had been minimal.
When cowboys moved their herds around, there would be complaints coming from farmers about the cattle eating their crops. This is later solved by barbed wire. There were also the usual stampedes, cattle fever, and conflicts with the Native Americans. Nat Love was one of the thousands of African American cowboys that moved to the West in the late 1800s. He worked as a sharecropper after the Civil War and then moved west for more opportunities. Love was skilled as a range rider and cattle brand reader and was very good with horses. This skill brought him the status of cowboy pretty quickly. He is considered one of the most famous cowboys and the most famous African American cowboy. Cowboys would work long hours, sometimes up to 15 hours a day, for low pay. They would travel with their herd, either with other cowboys or alone. It was common for a range war to occur within an agrarian society.
At the time, ranching created conflicts with farmers. The cattle would overgraze an area, so there wouldn't be enough food for the winter. In the long run, ranching created jobs and America's dependence on beef. Ranchers learned to fence in their ranches and save some animal feed for the winter. To wrap it all up, ranching helped to speed up westward expansion by bringing in more pioneers and creating a long-lasting industry, the meat industry. Even though cowboys faced many problems, they are the reason why the meatpacking industry is so important today and why westward expansion was able to advance so quickly.